Okay, welcome back. It is 4/18 of 2015. We're going to take a look at Jenson's doctrine of the modalities of the church within communion. And he wants to look at three moments of basically the remembrance of the salvation event of the Son, the Christ event, and then the gathering up work of the Spirit, and then the return to the Father. So the moments change a little bit when you talk about the modalities, because now we're talking about the activity taking place after the Father has already gone out of himself in the Christ event. So now we're looking at the work of what goes on within the realm of Spirit. So it begins with the moment of the Son, and then the Spirit, and the return to the Father. Instead of Father, Son, Spirit, it's Son, Spirit, Father. So the first moment is an anamnesis. It is a fellowship which is equal to the koinonia with the Father through the intercessory work of Christ. It anticipates the Church's future inclusion in the triune communion between the Father, Son, and the Spirit. And so it does have an eschatological goal of the sheer arrabon of community, or the true aspect of being bathed in the baptism of the Spirit. That arrabon is the installment of Spirit baptism, as you remember. And so this brings us to the gate of heaven, to the threshold, with a true eschatological readiness to cross over the threshold. And so the second moment is the realm of Spirit, which is going to be the key moment. Your second moment is always the key. And the concept of Epi-Clesis. And Epi-Clesis equals the triune continuance of call that does continue toward the Christian community. We still are confronted by the call of the Spirit, the invitation to participate in the kingdom. And so it's an Epi-Clesis invitation as a continuance of the divine call. And Jenson points out that like the event of Christ's baptism, where there were witnesses, we are invited and enabled as witnesses to hear spiritually, or to have the spiritual perception of hupakuo, in order to hear and apprehend this divine call of the trimutual space. And we are to hear and to take up the phronesis of a intentional stance. Remember, phronesis is intentionality. A phronetic stance of universality. We are called to the singular universality of our communion, to be open toward others in radical acceptance. And so it is a universality of communion. There is a necessary tension. We become aware that this moment always involves the two poles of remembrance and call, remembrance and invitation, and they can never be separated from each other. And so there's always an ongoing interrogation of the self, and always an ongoing interrogation of the community to participate in this call to the universal koinonia of the eschatological church as the one universal Catholic Church. There's always this interrogation and invitation. The third moment is the return to the Father, and that is the Greek concept of anaphora. It means to allow oneself to be borne along by the triune mutual passion as revealed to us in the Christ event. But this passive voice of being borne along is coupled with the active voice of our participation in the speech act of the recital of the telos of soteria, or the plan of salvation, the proclamation of the gospel. And so anaphora includes both the return of being taken up in the trimutual passion and the activity of the speech act of the gospel, of the recital of the teleology of soteria salvation. So our speech act of return is mediated through our particular spiritual gift, or charism. We always employ our gift of the Spirit. We animate our gift of the Spirit that we received in that arrabon baptism in order to return through the ministry, through our particular gift of Spirit. And so he sticks very much close to the Greek terminology. He loves the Greek language. And Jenson gives us that anamnesis of the Eucharist as a rite of remembrance, which he says that gets overly emphasized in the Protestant churches. But the Eucharist rite is not simply a rite of remembrance. It is a rite of remembrance. But according to Jenson, we have almost completely obliterated the Epi-Clesis aspect of the Eucharist. And he says now we need to re-liberate the other pole of the rite of the Eucharist, and that is, it is a continuance of the triune call and the triune invitation to participate into the universality of the koinonia fellowship. And so the Eucharist is always anamnesis and Epi-Clesis. You can't just reduce it to the rite of remembrance. And so very much Jenson wants to celebrate the second moment here, the moment of Epi-Clesis, and he wants to have that whole rite of the Eucharist liberated from its being demoted to only a rite of remembrance. He wants to very much emphasize this triune continuance of call, the triune continuance of invitation, which is an invitation to move past the threshold of the gate. We don't just want to simply remain at the threshold of entrance into the kingdom, but we want to take that step into participating in the kingdom through furthering the kingdom and its universality of radical acceptance of all individuals, and to really emphasize that universality of the koinonia fellowship. And when we do that, then we do participate in the anaphora return to the Father through our gifts of Spirit, and the koinonia fellowship will have many individual gifts of Spirit that work together in concert or in a epicorregio choreography, spiritual choreography. And so very much Jenson wants to point out to us that the modalities of the church in their fellowship is not simply a modality of remembrance. The Eucharist takes up remembrance, inviting call, and anaphora return. And that'll wrap up through page 230.